Yes, people, welcome back to another stream. Hopefully, you guys are all good, man. Make sure you guys smash up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. Daps is on his way. He's just finishing up on Never a Foul, so I thought I'd just go live anyway. Chat to you guys before he joins about last night, about the players, about Pep, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Got a couple of talking points to go through. We can have a look at some of the positives, some of the negatives, and see what's cooking, man. But yeah, see who's in the building. Big up Sam. Good to see you, bro. Big up Josh. Big up Clutch, big up Shy, big up Foggy, Sylvian, good to see you, bro. Big up Brad, Bodan, Lanjon, Makolo, Link, good to see you, man. Big up to Paul. Who else we got in here? Herbal, Farai, Leo, Beyond Belief. Yeah, hopefully you guys are all good, man. Smash these likes up. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. Manchester City dumped out of the Club World Cup in the round of 16 against Al Hilal, which ain't great, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And to be honest with you, lads, like, I know everyone's got their own views on, like, some people don't really care about it because they think it's a pre-season and that's cool. Like, everyone's got their own opinion. But I am actually legit gutted. And I'm a bit pissed off at, like, certain things, man. But, yeah, man. Daps, are you there, bro?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can I hear you nice and clear, actually? Got a new mic?
No.
Oh, it sounds good. How you doing, bro? You good?
Yeah. Bro, I'm the same as you. Like, fucking, do you know what it is with the? Firstly, I'm gutted about the tournament because I wanted to win it. Yeah. Although I'm now on the shameless thing saying, thank God we're out of this Mickey Mouse tournament. We get a break, right? It's not just the fact that we lost, yeah, and we're out of the tournament. It's how we lost, bro. Like,
agreed, man.
And this is where I know it's not just us, right? Yeah. Bro, when we conceded a goal, yeah, Pep went and brought on 2 centre-backs and a DM, right? The minute we concede a goal on a counter, Pep has had PTSD and gone, fuck, it's happening again. And he's gone and grabbed 2 centre-backs, a DM, thrown them on the pitch because he knew, shit. And this is the whole thing. Like, I just said to Mons said he didn't watch the game. I said, bro, just think kind of like Feyenoord, yeah? Just think that type of shit, right?
Yeah.
It's taken me back 6 months. I'm back 6 months. It's Groundhog Day. I'm back 6 months ago now. And that's the worrying thing. And now I'm even thinking things like, right, and this tournament's all been great and everything, right? And while we've been riding this, you know, while we've been winning games, it's been great. But I'm coming off the back of this tournament still not knowing if I can see a Vardy or Kuzanov centre-back partnership because I haven't seen it once in this tournament.
Bro, I don't get it. I've been saying this before the tournament started. I said I want to see a Gavardio Huzanov centre-back partnership to test it out because I think the lack of pace with Diaz is going to be a problem. That's all I ever said. I said, I just want to test it.
Yeah. And we haven't tested it.
Bro, the thing is with Diaz, and I see people saying, oh, he's our best defender and that. Right, whatever. The facts is, it's not just a case of whether he's our best defender, yeah? It's a case of, does he fit the system that we're playing, yeah? And I'm not being funny, mate. There was time and time again yesterday, every time that ball went in behind Diaz, I actually felt a little bit bad for him, bro. Yeah. Because he's got no hope in hell. If he does that, if he plays that system, yeah, with Diaz this year, Diaz will get sent off at least once this year.
Yeah. Because he didn't get sent off yesterday. This is a thing, right? So I'm probably one of Diaz's biggest defenders, yeah? Because when people saying Kuzanov is better than Diaz, chill out with the Kuzanov is definitely better than Diaz thing, yeah? Because we don't know that. We don't know that. So it's just you saying something based on what you think. But I am at a point now with Diaz where, and Polpy said it spot on earlier to me, right? That Diaz's reading of the game has always been mint. Well, for the first 2-3 seasons, Diaz's reading of the game was mint, yeah? His reading of the game was so good that he's telling other players where to be. And that's why I always say we need Diaz to lead the line because of his reading of the game. But if we're being truthful with ourselves, and this is me being truthful with myself, Diaz's reading of the game is gone, right? His reading of the game for the last year has been very poor. Now, if you've got pace, that's fine. If you don't read the game as well, your pace can make up for it. You put lack of pace and lack of reading of the game, and all of a sudden, it's a big fucking problem, right? And then even more so, if you're now playing with 2 fullbacks that are going to be really, really far up the pitch, right? Your centre-backs have to be on job. It's simple as that. Like, or your DMs have to be doing a role. Like great examples, Trent. The season they won the league, the season they won the Champions League, Trent's defending was never questioned. He was allowed to do what Trent does going forward, but he was covered by Van Dijk. He was covered by, can't remember who their centre-back was then. He was covered by Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho, right? If we are going to play with Ait Nouri and Nunes, or whoever we get in at right-back, far up the pitch, then we've got to have a DM and 2 centre-backs that we can fucking rely on. We have to have pace. And that's and look, I'm not here saying that's it, because I know straight away the mutants have come out, Pep out, Pep out, Pep out. He's washed. I'm not that, but it is Pep that's decided to play a super high line with no pace in defence.
I just don't. What I don't understand is, why has he not tried it? Why has he not tried it? Like, surely, yeah. Because the thing is as well, yeah, the people who are saying, "Oh, this is just a pre-season tournament, we don't really give a shit about it." Well, why are we not experimenting then? Why are we not experimenting with Huzanov at the back with Gavardio? Yeah, why is he not playing? Yeah, I just think, for me, like, I just don't really get it. And like I say, I kind of feel bad for Diaz, because I feel like we're putting him in a bad situation. I feel like we're putting him in a bad spot. Yeah, because I just don't see it. I don't see how a Diaz can excel in this team if he's being made to play a high line. Do you know what I mean? Because he can't run. Yesterday, bro, it was so slow. Yeah. And again, I'm not having a go at him. There's nothing he can do about that. It's not like a positional thing. He's just slow. Yeah. But if we're going to play this high line, which obviously we are going to do, you've got to have pace in the back line. Yeah. I just don't understand why he's not tried. I feel that Gavardio and Huzanov could be really, really good partnership. I think it could be a really, really good partnership. Huzanov's better on the ball than Diaz. He's quicker than Diaz. Yeah, and he's better in the air than Diaz. They're all facts. Now, leadership, box defending, whatever. Yeah, I'm not saying he's better. Like Daps, I'm not out here trying to tell people that Huzanov's better than Diaz. I'm not. I'm just saying.
Let's see it.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
And like, if people are saying, well, no, Diaz has been mint for years, and now you want, but I want the best for my football club, mate.
Look, and I'm one of them people that usually Diaz has been mint for. I'll say that. If you tell me Kuzanov is better than Diaz, I'll say, chill out, yeah. Diaz has got that praise for a reason, right? And I've been saying that. Probably would have said that to you last week, but Pulpy hit me with the realization his reading of the game has dropped off, yeah. And when your pace and reading the game have both gone, that becomes an issue. And it is, and I'm like you, do you know what? So Pulpy said to me this morning, right, about like he was saying, look, the truth is, yeah, there's something about Nico Gonzalez that Pep don't like, right? And the truth might be that Nico Gonzalez is a bit like Calvin Phillips, and Pep's seeing him, he's not really too sure in him. I said, no, you can't do that, because the difference is Calvin Phillips, we got shown Calvin Phillips. We saw Calvin Phillips play and he was shit, right?
Yeah.
I've seen Nico Gonzalez play. He's not shit, right? He's not shit. Again, like, and people straight away, the Gundogan Bernardo, the minute you see the lineup and you saw Gundogan Bernardo Silva, you thought, right, however this game unfolds, people are going to be coming for Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, right? But at the same time, why were both of them playing? This is a thing for me. Not why was one of them playing. Why were both of them playing? Why were both of them on that pitch? Because for me, and all these things, Pep wants to experiment in certain places. Like, right, Marmoush, Doku, Savio, cooks. Yeah, he's cooked, right? We've got proof of several games now where those three together cook, right? Haaland, Cherki, Foden. Different way of playing football, but we're pretty certain that'll work. We know from last season, Doku, Savio, and Haaland doesn't work, right?
Yeah, facts. So we know that Doku doesn't work with Haaland.
Yeah,
we already know that.
We've gone back to that, right? And then in midfield, it's like, okay, cool. I get why Rodri can't start, so fine. But if we're going to play Reinders and Bernardo Silva, then play Reinders, Bernardo Silva, and Gonzalez, or play Reinders, Bernardo Silva and Cherki, or play Reinders, Bernardo Silva and Foden, right? It's just the why Bernardo and Gundogan both in there. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is for me, bro, it's like if you look at that starting 11, we go back to goal scorers.
Yeah.
Right? Who's gonna be putting the ball in the back of the net? Jamie Doku isn't. Yeah, he's got a couple of goals, whatever, but he's not a scorer. Savinho's not a scorer. Yeah, Bernardo's not a scorer.
Yeah.
And Gundogan's not a scorer. And Tijani Reinders, we don't fully know how he's going to settle. So again, we've got a starting 11 here. Where are the goals coming from if Haaland's not putting the ball in the back of the net? And lo and behold, yesterday, first half, the game should have been dead and buried. But we are such a non-clinical team. I'm telling you now, for a fact, if Marmoush would have started that game yesterday, we're at least 2 or 3-0 up in that first half, mate. We're at least 2 or 3-0 because he's getting goals in that first half. I'm looking at this. Who's scoring the goals? You've got to play Foden, Cherki, or Marmoush because these guys actually know how to score a goal, mate. Yeah, especially Marmoush. I think Marmoush, really, honestly, Marmoush is climbing up the ladder of importance in this team, chat, because you need players to score. Like, it's not rocket science, man. Look at that first half. The game should have been dead and buried. Done. But we don't have players that can score goals, man. Marmoush would have started the game yesterday. He puts the ball in the back of the net. Yeah? And the second half, it's too late. It's a madness. Need to improve, man. Yeah, but this midfield, I don't get this midfield, mate. Nico Gonzalez. I don't know what's going on with Nico Gonzalez, mate. Chat, I don't know what's going on with Nico Gonzalez. Like, I just don't have a clue. Like, for me, I'm going to wait to see what happens with Gundogan and Kovacic because I believe that once those two leave, which I think they probably will, Nico Gonzalez will get played. But if Nico Gonzalez isn't getting played this season in the Premier League, well done. That's another £50 million wasted on a midfielder. So that's Phillips, 50 mil or 40 mil. Nunes, 50 mil. Gonzalez, 50 mil. £150 million we potentially have wasted on midfielders when we could have just gone and got Bruno Guimaraes 2 years ago for 100 million. This is why sometimes you just got to pay up the money and get the better player. Yeah. Now I still have faith that Nico Gonzalez will come good at this football club. I think he's a good player, but I'm not the manager, chat. I'm not the one picking the team. Fact is, Pepe picking this guy right now. And what I find really strange is I seen someone tweet this, so I'm gonna rob it, I don't know who it was. I think Nico Gonzalez at his worst, since he signed, has been okay. I don't think he's ever dropped stinkers. He might have had bad moments here or there, but every player has bad moments. I think overall he's been decent signing. Yeah, a decent player that I've said I think will become a squad rotation player. I don't think he's going to be good enough to be starting week in, week out for us based on the little that I've seen. But I definitely think this guy is good enough to be starting the odd game here or there, coming off the bench, blah, 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 making a difference, being a real squad player. Yeah. And he can't even get in the team ahead of Gundogan, who's 34 years old. Yeah. And Bernardo Silva. Like, I don't get it. I don't get this, man. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm frustrated, man. I'm frustrated because, like, the way that we lost the game, people are saying, "Oh, why are people getting mad with with the loss?" I'd say why people are getting mad because people like me, and maybe some people say naively, whatever. I just like to believe that we was improving. I felt that those sort of collapses, those sort of performances that we saw in the second half and extra time, I felt we'd left that last year. Yeah. I felt we'd left that last year. We were so naive. Our defense, Let's go back onto the defense again here, Daps, Let's stick with the defense for a minute, And I'll come to super chats in a minute, chat, Don't worry, they're all starred. Make sure you guys are smashing up the likes. Our defense is washed. I'm just going to say it how it is. It's washed, mate. Ederson, we'll come on to him now, I've been saying this all summer. I want to keep Ederson. But if he's not locked in, I want a new goalkeeper. Chat, have I said that all season or no? All summer. I have said that all summer.
No,
so why people tweet
me and
you're a big Ederson defender. I've said all summer long, I want to keep Ederson because I think he's the best goalkeeper for us. However, if he doesn't lock in, I want a new goalkeeper. And he's not locked in, man.
LB, do you know what? So here's the thing, straight away that tweet. But you've been an Ederson defender. You know what, Anyone that does that, you are a pussy of a man, right? Because a man will admit when they're wrong, right? You can be a certain way. And ultimately, there's no point in us doing YouTube shows and having debates with other people if we're not willing to change our mind, right? For me, Diaz is a prime example. I've had to change my fucking mind on Diaz because if you sit there just being no agenda, then what's the point, right? Bro, I personally want to keep Ederson, but I have to, and I've even been one literally 4 or 5 days ago having an argument with Alan about I don't care if he signs a new contract or not, yeah? But after watching that game yesterday, I'm now going, do you know what? Actually, I get what I get what Alan is saying. That if this guy's mind is somewhere else, because yesterday, Ederson was poor, very poor. And do you know what? Not even yesterday. Ederson's distribution this tournament's been pants, right? The amount of passes Ederson has played this season has been shocking. And yesterday, the first goal, the goal against Juventus, the distribution was bad. The getting down to save it was even worse. So I think I get it. Like I personally was saying only 4 or 5 days ago, let Ederson go on a free as long as we keep him one more season. But now I'm thinking if this is the type of performances we get out of him when he's kind of already basically gone, we need to get rid of him now. And we need to get someone else in.
Well, what I do, yeah, and shout out KP Masters, yeah, I don't know if he's in the chat, but he put this in the chat yesterday. Ortega has already said, basically, if you read between the lines, that he's thinking about leaving this summer, yeah? Shout out Pulpy, yeah? I'd get rid of Ortega, yeah, because Ortega's already said he basically wants to go. But instead of buying an Ortega replacement, i.e. number 2, go and buy your new number 1.
Yeah.
If Costa's the guy, or Chevalier's the guy, go and sign this player, bring the new number 1 in, and then say to Ederson and say to the new guy, right, you two are battling it out for number 1. That's what I do. And then Ederson can leave next year. Don't be getting rid of Ortega and buying a new number 2. Buy a number 1. And then next summer, when Ederson leaves, if by the way, this has got added benefits because one of the things we've noted, one of the things that people are saying about this Costa guy from Porto is that he's a bit of a bozo himself. So if you bring in Costa this summer and he's a bozo, well, that's your season finished, by the way. Yeah. But at least next summer, you can then go and buy a new number 1.
Yeah. That's my this morning straight away, I saw people saying, go and get Costa now. And I thought, based on yesterday, I wouldn't be coming out here saying, because from what I've seen of Costa has moments like Ederson had yesterday. So I don't know if Costa is the right one. But but the point is it's almost irrelevant if he's the right one. If the club think that Costa is the right player, go and get him. Just go and get him now. Go and get him now. Let Ortega go and let Ederson and Costa fight it out for this season. Yeah. By the way, if this guy comes in, he's probably going to walk straight into the team because at the moment, Ederson is the thing is with Ederson, right? Is I've said last season I think was his worst season for Manchester City. I think if you ranked Ederson's years at Manchester City by worst to best, I think Ederson's is at the bottom. Now, a lot of players last year, they'll be at the bottom, yeah? However, it's no coincidence to me that that's come the season that he's had his head gone by Saudi. Now, he's come out and said he wants to stay, right? Probably because he wants to go on a free next year and get a massive signing on bonus. But this tournament, it's got worse as the tournament's gone on. Yeah.
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, right, I'm an Ederson defender. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think last year he had a bad year, granted, but I think the hate's been overdone. This year, hopefully he can lock it and come back to it. However, I cannot just keep on defending him.
Nah.
Yeah? Because otherwise, you know how people have agendas on like players that they don't like? People have agendas on players that they do like as well, Daps.
Yeah, they do.
And I like Ederson. I think he's mad overrated. But Andrew, mate, the saves, mate, he's all over the gaff. His saving is bad. So I'm bringing, if it's me now, if I'm Viana, I'm going activating the clause of Costa. I'm going buying Trafford. I'm going buying another goalkeeper. I'm getting rid of Ortega because he already wants to leave anyway. And I'm making the 2 goalkeepers fight it out. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, sure.
Because he's not getting better. Like
it's not.
This is to be honest and say he's not getting better. There are no signs he's getting better. He's getting worse. He's getting worse as the tournament gone on. And what are we going to do, Daps? Are we going to get to sort of September or October and go, you know what? Because what about he might be finished? People in the chat have been telling me, that this guy's finished. And I've been saying he's not finished. But what about if he is finished? Am I going to wait till October or November when the season's finished because we've lost 5 games because Ederson's finished? Yeah. I don't think he is finished. But what about if he is? I've got to be open to the possibility that he might be done.
Yeah, for real, for real, for real. There's someone in the chat straight away with the Bernardo agenda. Can I ask you a question, right? Because this is my thing. There's a lot we can speak about, and I tried to ask my chat this morning. Yeah, please, I want to be critical of City, so please stay with what we're talking about, and let's move through the team bit by bit. They didn't. They just want to keep running agendas, right? And Bernardo's name kept coming up, so I said, please tell me what Bernardo did wrong. Do you know what they told me Bernardo did wrong yesterday?
What?
Corners. Bro, Bernardo's corners were good yesterday. Bro,
yeah, no, I actually think Bernardo played all right yesterday. I don't think Bernardo Silva should be in the team, right?
Bro, let me be clear with anyone that thinks I'm a Bernardo defender, right? Bernardo is not in my best 11 for Manchester City, yeah? Bernardo would probably be, I'd rather start fucking Nico Gonzalez over, but I'll be real with you. I would rather start Nico Gonzalez over Bernardo, yeah? But I'm just want to be critical correctly. And just because you don't like Bernardo because he's over the age of 30, yeah? I can't sit here when we're trying to actually have a talk about the game and just go, do you know what? Yeah, let's just trash Bernardo, right? Because that ain't going to get us nowhere. If Bernardo didn't play yesterday and someone else did we win the game? No, because yesterday the issue was fucking the high line, the issue was the defense, the issue was the goalkeeper, right? I'll be honest with you. I think Reinders had a worse game yesterday than Bernardo Silva, right? I want Reinders to start every game over Bernardo Silva. But if we're being real, I think Aït-Nouri had a worse game than Bernardo Silva, right? But again...
the thing is on the defence, yeah, and I'll come to Super Chats after this, right? The thing is on the defence, I want to touch on the defence, yeah, because we've done Diaz, right? We've done a little bit of Ederson, yeah? But I think the way that Pep deployed Núñez and Aït-Nouri yesterday was not good.
Nah.
Yeah. Oh, there's more Pep criticism there for people that say never criticise Pep. More Pep. I think Núñez's best attribute as an attacking fullback, and I'm pretty sure everybody agrees with me on this, yeah, is overlapping. He's getting forward and overlapping because he's got a good cross on him. He gets to the byline, he cuts it back, he can cross a ball, yeah? What Pep asked him to do yesterday was go infield. And then who was it? Savinho held the width. Well, that then creates for me two problems. Yeah, two problems. One problem, you're not getting the best out of Núñez going forward because you're inverting him into midfield and you're not getting him out wide. Not only that, you then also put in Savio as a touchline winger, which he's also not good at. Yeah, if you look at the way Savio and Doku have been playing in this tournament, we've been seeing Doku and Savio, getting closer to the box and playing more sort of in like inverted strikers almost, like inverted wingers. Yesterday, they were both back to the wings, and yesterday, probably for me, is their worst games of the tournament so far for the pair of them. Yeah, and he's done the same with Aït-Nouri. So in the way I see it, is, and I know people say, well, he did that to stop transitions and that. Well, for me, that's the wrong way of thinking about it. It didn't work. It didn't work.
It really didn't work. And do you know what? Even if we're saying he did that stop transitions, cool. Bro, when the transition started, he kept Doku and Savio on, right? So still, like, what are we doing? He did it. It didn't work, and he carried on doing it. This is the frustration with yesterday. There were so many things with, like, how long it took to bring Cherki and Foden on was mad.
I know. I don't. Why were those subs not made in the 80th minute? Why did we wait until the fucking extra time? Why were the subs were made? We was on the ball. We was doing all right. We needed a little bit of spark. Yeah. You should have put them on at 80th minute. He waited. I don't know, man. I don't really understand what Pep was doing yesterday.
Again, people, straight away, the chat has gone back to talking about Bernardo Silva being a fucking sideways pass merchant. I'm sorry, people, but sideways passes did not lose us the game yesterday. Whether I liked sideways passes or not, open up your fucking head to what is going wrong, yeah? How many chances did we create yesterday?
We should have been out of sight at half-time,
right?
Bro.
So, ultimately, we've created enough goals, but the goals weren't scored, right?
Why? Because we didn't have the players on the pitch to put the ball in the back of the net, because Savio never scores, Doku never scores, Bernardo never scores, Gundogan never scores. That's four out of your attacking.
Agendas is mad. Stop these fucking agendas.
No, I agree. But for me, I'll be real with you, mate. I think this comes down to Pep. I think he's getting his tactics right now. I think he's getting his tactics completely wrong. Let me go through these super chats, man. Yeah. Chat, smash these likes up as well if you've not done so already. Make sure you guys are subbed up to the channel. Shout out to Stop Making Sense. Says, hard luck to City fans. The bigger club won. I know. Big up to you, man. Congratulations, innit? Big up Second City Saint says Mancini was sacked for less. Catalan's destroying the club. Madrid sacked Carlo for less. Club needs to move on from an overrated spender, Pep. Well, I'll tell you this now, Second City Saint. I think if City don't compete this year, I think he goes at the end of the season. Yeah. I think he goes at the end of the season. And that's my honest opinion.
I'll be honest, bro. Like, I'm going to say by Christmas, but by Christmas, if we're still seeing games like this, it's serious fucking conversations, man. Like, bro, this is too much PTSD for me. Because it's too similar.
This is why the Unks needed to go for me. This is why the Unks needed to go. You know what I mean? Because I remember the people in the chat saying, "Oh, if the Unks stay, bro, yeah, then Pep's going to play him." And I was always like, "Nah, he's not going to play him." But mate, he might continue to play him. What about if these people are right? Do you know what I mean? We've got Nico Gonzalez literally sat there on the bench and he's not coming on. We've got 34-year-old Gundogan running around.
That's for me. The whole thing, I'll keep saying this, is, and I said it all last season, the issue was not any one individual uncle for me. The issue was all four, right? Still, I'll say the same thing. If I see a team with Gundogan in it or I see a team with Bernardo in it, I'm not going to throw my toys out the pram. But if I see a team with both in it, then it's like, why? Because we can't, like, Reinders is nailed on. I get it, yeah? But again, it goes back to, this is a tournament. The Premier League starts soon, right? And we might not have any games before the Premier League. We still know nothing more about Gonzalez.
That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, man. Let me just continue this chat, bro. Big up to Ashman, says, more disappointed about the patterns of the loss rather than us losing, centre box crossing. Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I think you got the reaction yesterday that you did. It's because of the way that we lost.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people maybe who didn't watch the game. Yeah, respect people. Some people just thought, I'm not watching it at 2 a.m. in the morning and don't get it. You need to watch the game back to see how we played, because it was like Daps said, it was like watching City from 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I think everybody thought that we'd moved on from that. And obviously when that come back, that's the situation. Spot on. Big up Daps LB. When it's the Karl show, Bray, it needs to happen, man. I get it locked in, bro. I get it locked in. Big up Yosko says, most of all, the new meta football is fast transitions. Diaz is not up to the task with his current physical state. Again, you know what I mean? Bro, you can't play a high line and play a slow player at centre-back unless you've got a rapid player next to him. So maybe you could play Diaz and Huzanov. Maybe that would work. But you can't play Gvardio. Yeah, you repping Gvardio. But Gvardio's not like a rapid player.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I feel like you don't have to be some sort of mad tactical to know that if you're going to have your defence on the halfway line and you're going to be having balls played over the top of your defence 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a game, you probably want a fast player in defence. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? That's just obvious. LB, why do you think he doesn't trust Huzanov? Is it because I don't know. I don't know why he's not playing Huzanov. I don't get it.
At this point as well, though, like I said at the start, for me, it was that I felt Diaz was a leader. And as far as, when I say a leader, I'm not meaning captain. I'm meaning leading the line, his reading of the game and his communication. But at this point, if I'm not seeing that neither, I can no longer keep saying that. And yesterday, I didn't see any of that from Diaz, right? So at that point, if I'm not seeing Diaz leading the line, I'm not seeing him communicate, and it's not working, at that point, just give it a fucking go.
The thing is, again, it's like, you look at Diaz, right, and you go, okay, let's have a look at some of his weaknesses. Pace. That's going to cause us issues every single game, right?
Yeah. With that high line, yes.
With the high line. Aerial ability, non-existent. That's the facts. The facts tell us that it was the second worst aerial duel percentage in the Premier League last year out of any player in the Premier League. Yeah. And we can see it with our eyes, yeah? That's a fact. So he can't head a ball, and he's slow. He's not particularly good on the ball either. At breaking the lines like a John Stones or Laporte or a Gvardio. Yeah. So then you say, what's he good at? He's good at defending the box when you're playing low block or something. How many times do we actually do that? I don't know, man. Like, I would be getting rid of him or whatever. Like, I wouldn't sell him, but for me, I just wouldn't be playing him right now.
Someone just made a good point, Considering Diaz is right-footed, he might be better on the left.
He might be better on the left.
Which is weird, but yeah. No, I'm bro, when you put it like that, you're ultimately, what is Diaz good at? He's good at being a last-ditch defender.
Mm.
But in that case, do you know what? Fine. Even if we're playing with everyone else, go forward. Diaz, stay back. Stay as far back as you can, right? And be a last-ditch defender, right? I don't know. I'm here with it now at this point where the more people open your eyes to something, when you say the heading as well, it's mad that when you think Diaz isn't great in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's terrible in here. Bill DK says, would you rather Trafford or Costa? No idea. Not seen enough of them. I've already said I'm just going to see the club sign and hope that they get it right, but I have no idea, bro. I've not seen enough of them. Pepe's not helping this rebuild process, says Jarvis. I mean, I have to agree right now. Bro.
But could we say there that we're being a little bit reactionary because 2 days ago we would say that everything to do with the rebuild process is going well?
I think the personnel that we're signing is going well, but the way that Pep's deploying them is a bit weird.
Do you know what? Now, when I look at Pep's press conference yesterday, after the game, there was something he said that worried me a little bit, right? He was talking about the mood, and there was so much focus on everyone seemed so happy, right? And I just thought, I hope. Although I do love the fact that everyone is seeming so happy and that the team spirit seems great, I hope it hasn't been all based on that, right? I hope it hasn't all been based on our team spirit, happiness, and so we're fine again. And that him, Pep Lijnders, Kolo Touré have actually also been working on some of the issues from last season and not just the confidence, right? And if we look at the game yesterday, you start to think, have we been looking at all the issues of last season, or has it solely been based on let's get that team spirit back and we're going to win it again and remind everyone who we are and we're there?
Well, I think he's trying to get the team spirit back, and that looks good. And that, however,
we need to address
also, yeah, exactly. Let's be honest. Pep also factually left us with no DM on the pitch yesterday.
Yeah,
that happened. Yeah, he also left us with Ake, Diaz. No, did he sub Diaz? Ake, Diaz and Akanji as a back three. Horrendous back three. That is dead. Yeah, Ake's moving mad these days as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, real talk, man. Like, John Stones is probably still our best defender all round, but the guy's obviously fucking been done. He's been dusted. He can't stay fit.
Is he?
No, because obviously, we're not seeing him once because obviously Pep wants rid because he can't stay fit. Hilarious, because I agree, but he's our best defender.
But then that worries me. If Pep wants rid, that's why we haven't seen him all tournament. Why the fuck have we seen Gundogan multiple times?
I don't know. I don't know, because for me, I'm pretty sure Gundogan's going Turkey, mate. I've seen all the noise on Twitter. I've seen it on just report all these aggregators. I think he's certainly going to Turkey. So I had no idea. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just feel that this. I want to see the new players, man. I want to see Huzanov. I'm a bad fan for wanting to see Huzanov. I'm a bad fan for maybe wanting to see Vita Hayes or wanting to see Nico Gonzalez. Do you know what I mean? This club spent 50 million quid on Nico G. They spent 30 million quid on Huzanov and 30 million quid on Vita Hayes. Am I a bad fan for asking I want to see these players instead of watching some of these players that let Pep? This is what pissing me off a bit about Pep, is that these players let Pep down last year. And I'm not saying Pep didn't get stuff wrong last year. I think he was to blame last year, but the players were letting Pep down week in, week out. Yeah, and he continues to pick them.
Yeah.
Like, why you keep picking Akanji for?
But why
are you picking Hunts for?
And a good example again, right, is when we were so like I said, the minute we got counted on, at pace, Pep's first thing was to go and put a DM on and 2 centre-backs. Why? Because he remembered last season. All right, cool. Get that. Understand that. And also, when you concede a goal and you are a team that can be vulnerable to counters, I understand why for the next 10 minutes you want to maybe bring on a couple of defensive players, get everything calmed down, and then you bring on the attacker players. I get that. But why not Kuzanov? Why not the one player with pace? Why this is the thing, and this is a worrying thing, LB, that we're going into the season and we all we want is Kuzanov and Gonzalez to be given a chance, and in a tournament that was not as important as the Premier League, nowhere near as important, we didn't get to see either of them. So I hope we get a couple of friendlies arranged for late July, early August now. Otherwise, I'm worried. No, we have to see these players. Otherwise, do you think Pep's going to start off the season and just decide then, yeah, you know what, actually, I'm going to start Gonzalez?
But why did he start? Why did he do that against Wydad? Why did he do that against Alain? Why has he not done it in his? Yesterday, yeah, I don't really understand the starting 11, right? Because obviously Pep's not taking that game yesterday mad serious because he left Foden on the bench, he left Marmoush on the bench, and he left Cherky on the bench, right? So obviously, in Pep's head yesterday, he ain't taking it that serious, or he's underestimated Al Hilal. One of the two, right? So if you're underestimating Al Hilal, or you're not taking it serious because in your head it's a preseason game, why are you not trying Vita Hayes or Huzanov, bro? Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly that.
I just get frustrated, man. Looking at these players that I'm looking at, like, bro, Viana, mate, you need to get on this, mate, and get rid of some of these players, bro. I'm being deadly serious. You need to sort out and get some of these players gone, mate. We need to get some of these players gone.
Yeah, facts.
Otherwise, he's going to keep playing them. You know what I mean? Gundogan's got to go. Kovacic has got to go. And then you probably need to get rid of two of the centre-backs, man. And let Huzanov and Hayes actually cook. And if you're not going to let Huzanov and Hayes cook, why the hell did we spend £60 million, on the two centre-backs if we're not going to play them? What's the point? You might as well just gone and spent 60 million and got like a fucking world-class centre-back. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And by the way, so the right-back thing is still a situation. Don't think Núñez had a particularly bad game yesterday as far as... I don't think
he wasn't bad. He was just ineffective.
Yeah, just ineffective.
Because Pep deployed him in the wrong position. Again, another Pep diss, but again, people who Pep out never hear that because they just want to say
Yeah. No, and also I'll say the same. The one thing I would say on Bernardo is, and I know people will be shocked I'm saying this, Bernardo was a bit ineffective apart from the corners, but I just don't think he was one of our worst players. He's not someone that I'm instantly going to be pointing my finger at. But, right, so people that want us to get a new right back and people that want us to get a right back that is doing exactly the same as Ait Nouri, but on the right-hand side. Right, after watching Ait Nouri for 2 or 3 games and saying, we need another right back exactly the same as Ait Nouri does on the left, right? If we're going to do that, bro, I don't know, we might have to go and buy a centre-back as well, right? Because we're just going to be so exposed. I don't know, at this point, I want a right back I want a right back. I want a very, very good defensive right back at this point. All of a sudden, do you know what? Bro, play 3 at the back. Fuck it. Play 3 at the back, Pep. Try it. If you want to try, play Kuzanov, Diaz, and Vardiol. If you want to stay loyal to Diaz and Vardiol, right? Play Kuzanov next to them, right? Maybe that's maybe that is what we need to do with this version of football that Pep wants to play. Play 3 at the back, so we're not as...
you could do that. You could do that, but the thing is, you can't go into the season with Núñez and Akanji as right back options, bro.
No. Not with
surely we all agree. Surely we all agree that you see mate. Yesterday when I seen Diaz and Akanji crossing the ball, fucking hell, I got PTSD, man. Oh, no, I thought we'd moved on from that. I don't want to see Akanji cross a fucking football, mate. Yeah, this is the problem when Akanji plays right back. Yeah, from a defensive point of view, not too bad. But as soon as you get the ball going forward, he ain't it, man. Yeah, he ain't it. And we got Diaz and Akanji crossing the ball in. Yeah, we need another right back, mate. I'm convinced we'll sign a right back. I don't know who it's going to be. Will it be Livramento? I don't know. But you need to get another right back, mate. Yeah, you really, really do.
And by the way, I had a big long debate with Patrick and a few others on Friday about Pep's favouritism, At no point did I say that Pep doesn't have his favourites. My whole thing was that Pep might have his favourites because he actually just thinks they're better than people, right? Like, what I was saying is people make out like Pep has favouritisms based on because he likes them more as a person, right? And I was saying, no. No one has that, right? Like a serial winner is not picking people because he likes to share a glass of wine with them or something, right? Pep seems to have this trust in some of the players that I get it. He does have a trust in Gundogan, a trust in even Akanji, to be honest with you. Like I said yesterday, I understand why Pep brought on defensive players, right? PTSD from last season. But again, if you've got PTSD of teams countering on you, then the perfect player to bring on in that situation for me would be a player with pace like Kuzanov. If teams keep countering on you, you bring on a player with pace.
Probably. I also think that he's worrying too much about the opposition and what the opposition are going to do to us, rather than focusing on how are we going to go and win the game. Yeah. We're worrying about what's the opposition going to do. Oh, they're going to transition. I'll put Aït-Nouri and Núñez in the middle. Doesn't work. Yeah. Oh, we're getting cooked on transition. I'm gonna put 3 defensive players on. We're still getting cooked. How about focus on winning the football match? Yeah. Why is Savio and Doku played 120 minutes yesterday? Yeah. Why did Marmoush, these guys not come on at 80th minute, 70th minute to go and win the football match? Yeah. Again, going back to the starting 11. Yeah. We do not have enough players in that starting 11 to score goals. It's the fundamental basics of football is you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. And that starting 11 yesterday, did not have players in it that can score goals. Savio doesn't score, Doku doesn't score, Bernardo doesn't score, Gundogan doesn't score, Reinder's unknown. That means one player out of the front 6 is Haaland, who I can actually trust to put the ball in the back of the net. Everybody else, no. And that's why we was only 1-0 up at half time.
Yeah.
And we should have been 3-4-0 up.
Like, do you know, the biggest frustrating thing is that we talk about, we all want to see Haaland. We all want to see Haaland, Cherki, and Foden, right? We all want to see, or we all accept, I think we all accept that Marmoush, Savio, and Doku works. Right, it does work.
Doku, Savio, Marmoush, yeah.
It works, yeah.
Yeah,
but deep down, the one that we want to see most is probably Haaland, Cherki, Foden.
On paper, that seems like the best 3.
Or maybe it might be Haaland, Marmoush, and Cherki, and Foden playing Actually, no, I think Cherki works a bit deeper. So it'd be Haaland, Foden, Marmoush, and Cherki playing a little bit deeper, right? But yesterday, to see us revert back to that fucking Doku, Savio, Haaland thing that didn't work all last season is just tedious, man.
Well, this is the facts, yeah. In that first half, everything was going all right. Second half, it was just a game from last season.
Yeah.
We know for a fact Doku and Haaland do not work together. Can't be asked getting into the intricacies of it, about whose fault it is, whether it's Doku's, Haaland. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
We've seen 2 years of it. It doesn't work. And guess what, chat? I'm going to hazard a guess. It ain't going to work this year, right? Now, that means for me, if you're playing Doku, you can't play Haaland. You play Haaland, you can't play Doku. Yeah, you got to play Marmoush. But I don't understand why we've seen 2 years of Doku Haaland not work. Is it just going to randomly click in this year and go, it's going to work? Doku has been doing really well. He's been one of our best players this tournament, yeah? But he's been better one of our best players, but Haaland's not been on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's the truth.
Bro, honestly, I am here. I've been here trying this. I really want to see, for me personally, the one I want to see is I want to see Haaland through the middle. I want to see Marmoush and Cherki Marmoush and Foden behind him. And I am putting Foden back in there. Foden has done enough this tournament to make me start having faith back in Foden again. Because I was saying the mental illness thing, I don't know. Foden's doing a good job. Foden is, he's been coming on and scoring clutch goals, right? And then I want wing backs that are doing their job. And then I want Reinders. I probably want Rodri, Reinders, and Cherki in midfield, right? But I've seen Marmoush, Doku, and Savio enough to keep saying, do you know what? Although that isn't one that excites me massively, it works on the pitch. And when I see in my head, it doesn't excite me. Every time I watch those 3 play together, it does excite me, right? And that's cool. What is Pep seeing to think that Savio, Doku, and Haaland works? And more so, bro, more so. All right, if you want to give it one more fucking run, cool, switch them over. Switch them over and let's see Savio on the left. If you still have this little thought that those 3 together can work, at least change something and play Savio on the left. We're seeing Savio back on the right again.
Yeah. No, it's a madness. Like I said, I think Doku and Savio have had a good tournament, but the point is, I still don't think it's going to fully work with Haaland up there if you've got them two. So then you've just got to, and that's fine because then you've got different options. Maybe some game you don't want to play Haaland, you play Savio, Doku, Mamouche. One thing that, in my opinion, is becoming clearer, and I think I said this at the start of the stream, Mamouche has to play. He has to play because we need goals, chat. We need goals. We're desperate for goals, and he's one player in that team that can get me goals.
Facts.
I don't care where he plays. I'd rather him not play off the right, but you've got to get him on the pitch because he's gonna get you goal 1 in 2. He's scoring 1 in 2.
But
like I say, if he started yesterday, I think we win that game. I genuinely believe we win that game if he starts yesterday.
Yeah, but if I was Mamouche yesterday, I'd be a little bit frustrated. I can't lie to you. I agree with you, bro. Look, Haaland, back end of last season, when he wasn't playing, we went on a bit of a form. And by the way, I still think Haaland should be starting. I want to see Haaland and Mamouche together.
I agree.
But
I want
especially more so, I don't know if you've noticed this tournament, because Haaland hasn't looked that clinical in front of goal this tournament.
Missed chances,
Haaland's link-up play this tournament's been better than I've seen for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, listen, people will slag Haaland off all the time, but he's still scored 85 goals in 97 Premier League games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But the positive is as well, his link-up play has become better. So if his link-up play has become better, then cool. Play Haaland, play Mamouche off of him, right? That could be Foden off of him. That can work for me. For me, that is my front three would be Haaland, Mamouche, Foden. And then I'd play Cherky, Reinders, and Rodri in midfield. Someone just said, Daps, we can only play 11 players. That's what I'm saying. My best 11, forget the defence for a minute, is Haaland, Mamouche, Foden, Cherky, Reinders, Rodri. That's 6.
Let me go on some more of these chats. Guys, smash these likes up, man. If you've not done so already, make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Let's see what else we got people are saying, man. Sorry for the delay on these, lads. Big up to LJ, says, Diaz fell off a cliff when he got with Maya and started modelling. Akanji hasn't been good since the treble. Stones and Ake made a glass defensive foot. I think the defence is a major problem. But it don't have to be a major problem, though, LJ. If you play Gavardio and Huzanov, you keep Hayes, and, Ake can be in the mix as well. It's the players that are playing. Do you know what I mean? I think Diaz doesn't need to play. And Akanji doesn't need to play. You play Huzanov and Gavardio, I think you're chilling. But the defense is it's not looking good, but he's not looking good because of the players that he's picking.
Yeah.
Big up, bro. Big up Hamad says, Ruben Diaz can't play in a high line and he's awful right now. Get AK-45 in the lineup. I think most City fans now are like saying, if we play in a high line, you've got to play Huzanov.
Yeah.
You've got to. Big up to Mish says, Pep buys defenders, never builds the defense, says Mish. By the way, why weren't you on Saeed yesterday? Why? Because it was 35 degrees and I couldn't sit in this room. So it was not possible. It wasn't possible, bro. Big up to June says, I was looking forward to Chelsea v Cities in the semis. Yeah, fucking hell. That's not happening now, bro. You know what I mean? We're out. Shout out to Ado says, seasoning. Ederson has faced 10 shots on target last 2 games and gave up 6 goals. Not good enough. Yeah. I don't know if you missed the start of the stream. I'm not sure, but we did speak about Ederson. I'm saying buy a new number 1. I'm saying get rid of Ortega because he wants to go anyway. Buy a new number 1 and let Ederson and the new number 1 battle it out. I don't give a shit who plays. I don't give a shit who plays. For me, I'm a City fan. I want the best for my team. If we get new goalkeepers better than Ederson, play the new goalkeeper. I don't care. Yeah? That's what I'd do. Bill LB says, Haaland don't rate Ederson. Telling Bono to come to City. I know. I mean, that's the difference in it. I mean, you look at some of the saves that Bono was making yesterday. I mean, ridiculous. That save, by the way, on Savio. Wow. I watched it this morning on slow-mo. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable save from Bono. The save for Gundogan. The tips over the bar from Diaz. The guy made pure saves, man.
Fair saves. Bro, it's not even if you look at things like, I'll go back to that game, the Juventus game. The distribution was poor from Ederson, but that shot, he should have got down to that. Bro, it just went under him. And the amount of times Ederson sometimes doesn't even dive. It is frustrating. And by the way, people, you can say, but Daps, you're one of Ederson's biggest defenders. I am. But what I've seen this Club World Cup is frustrating me. So I've got to talk on it. Players change. Diaz, for me, when people say the Diaz-Maya Jammer thing, you know what? It's funny, but the truth is, Diaz dropped off before he was dating Maya Jama. Diaz's drop-off has been coming for a while.
Bro, I remember, yeah, and people in the chat who watched me for a while know this, yeah. Not last year, the season before, the first 6 months of the season. So this would have been 2023, 2024. The year we won the league, yeah, the last time we won the league, yeah. The first 6 months, Diaz was ass, bro. Yeah. And nobody was speaking about it. Yeah. And then he actually got a little bit better towards the end of the season. Yeah. It's quite funny because I remember chat, I don't know how many people remember this, but I remember saying to the chat, people are cussing Diaz, yeah, when he's actually got better. He was ass in the first half of the season and no one was mentioning it, yeah. So that was kind of weird. And then last year he fell off as well, but everybody fell off. And this year, obviously, I want to come back to Diaz. We spoke about it for ages. I don't think it's Diaz. I don't think it's necessarily a Diaz issue. I think it's a system issue. I just don't think he fits the system.
Yeah, facts.
It's like that guy who put that chat in before and said the current meta in football, yeah, is quick transitional football. And Pep's already spoke about this in his press conference. He said that's how he wants to play. Well, I'm sorry, he can't play Diaz then because he's so slow.
Do you know
that's not Diaz's problem? That's just the system problem.
The thing is, and it can even be things like, I mean, a great example actually is if you look at with Savio and Doku, the one thing with Savio and Doku that I think we've probably documented before is they lose the ball more than other players, right? If you lose the ball, you're then more open to being hit on transitions. And then Diaz is vulnerable, right? Prime example, I think it was the first game. Ait Nouri started, Doku didn't start. Ait Nouri hardly lost the ball down the left, right? We didn't get transitioned on. The thing is, people have learned over the years now with now we're not pressing slightly as well. We can be transitioned more. Let's look at last season, bro. Fulham at home. We won, I think, 3-2. But that was a warning sign last season. Fulham, I'm sure it's Fulham or Bournemouth.
Yeah, no, Fulham at home, 3-2. We should have lost the game.
Right. Yeah, and we're being hit on transitions. And it's like people have learned now, you know what? City are vulnerable as hell without Walker. Now Walker's pace is gone. Transitions, you do transitions right. And do you know what? I'll be honest, it's been a pet thing the whole time. We've always been vulnerable to transitions, but because we kept the ball so well previously, we didn't see many of them, right? Or because we pressed so well and won the ball as soon as we lost it high up the pitch, we didn't see transitions. For whatever reason now, we're far more vulnerable to transitions, and then that makes Diaz look washed because he just can't handle it. He cannot handle it at all.
Mm-hmm. No, it's facts, bro. It's absolutely it's facts, man. Smash these likes up, people. Get these likes up, man.
That comment's joke. Sorry, Jack Grealish.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It is wild. Let me go through some of these chats, man. Big up to the chat, man. Big up ALX says, in my opinion, at the moment, Liverpool are ahead of us. We need to find a new system, tactic, maybe start Huzanov, maybe sign a new centre-back, right-back. Also, Cherky Foden must start, says ALX. But 18 months. Yeah, I think, again, most people are... In fact, let me do a poll in the chat, yeah? Let me see what people are saying about Huzanov. Should Huzanov replace Diaz? That's what I know. Let me see what you guys say. There's a poll in the chat. Guys, vote in the poll. Big up ALX, man. Big up Dark Shadow. Says Bernardo and Gunda were not bad, but unfortunately, their not bad performances are not good enough for City. Yeah, this is facts. You know what? It's like we spoke about Nunes before, ineffective yesterday because Pep played him in the wrong position, and then Bernardo ineffective. Yeah, how many times did we do player ratings last year, chat, and was like, oh, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. Like, it was just okay. Like, when you have 3 or 4 players in your starting 11 that are not good but not bad, that's bad. That's bad. You need players to be affecting the game.
Do you know what? For me, like, and I guess as well with the way we played yesterday, it made us also maybe not see the most effective Reinders. Right? That's where I think. If we were to play Reinders, Gonzalez, and Bernardo, it might work better because then Reinders, they can take it in terms to be the one going. Ultimately, Bernardo can do what we saw at the back end of last season, where I do think he was effective, where he's the sweep up man. He was just mopping things up, right? He was going, getting the ball off the defense, helping out defenders, and moving the ball forward for someone else to do the rest of it, yeah? Because the truth is, I still think, in fact, let me ask you, what is the best Bernardo Silva you've ever seen at Manchester City? Because for me, there's two completely different Bernardos.
There was treble year. Bernardo was unbelievable, and then the year that he put that goal into a top corner at Old Trafford.
Right, but are you talking? So are you talking the Bernardo Silva that would be, because there's a Bernardo Silva prime example would be Bernardo Silva against Real Madrid treble season, where it was ultimately him, Walker, and Mahrez, the GOAT, linking up on the right-hand side in the final third. Yeah. See, that's not my favourite Bernardo Silva performance. My favourite Bernardo Silva performance is playing in a pivot with Fernandinho against Liverpool. I think back in like 18 or 19.
Yeah, so it depends. In terms of like affecting the game, treble year, 100%. But in terms of like where you get the best out of him for the team, yeah. But when he was playing with Fernandinho in the middle and you just had them two running around, like it was unstoppable.
And for me now, the Bernardo Silva of treble season, where he was impacting the game in the final third, can't happen anymore. He just hasn't got that image. And maybe, do you know what? Maybe here's the thing. Maybe it just worked with Mahrez, right? Because actually that's how goated Mahrez is, that Mahrez brought the best out of Bernardo Silva in the final third, right? But I'm cool with seeing a Bernardo Silva that literally sits in a pivot, whether it be with Gonzalez or whether it be with Reinders, right? Personally, I'd rather, if we're going to start Bernardo Silva, it would be in a pivot with Gonzalez, right? Or a pivot with Rodri. And he's just doing the mop-up role, right? Doing the legs, the energy, and moving the ball to the likes of Reinders, the likes of Cherky, to then go and impact the game in the final third. I don't want to see him in the final third no more, because like you said, bro, he's not getting goals no more.
He's never got goals. I remember saying this because 6 years ago, having debates with City fans saying like Bernardo Silva is not a good player in the final third, and because his name's Bernardo Silva and he's got that sort of continental name, everyone thinks he's like some fucking David Silva regen.
He's an energy.
I've said it for 6-7 years. I've said that's not his game. He's an industrial player. Yeah. He's a player that runs around a lot, puts challenges in, and like connects the play. He's not someone who's going to break the lines, stick one in the top bins regular. His numbers are poor, and this is why I've said, 4 or 5 years ago when Bernardo Silva first wanted to leave the club, so what I said he's going to struggle to be sold because City value him. Yeah, exactly. Big up Leon, bro. I said it for time. I've said it for years. 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I've said this. I said it for time. This is the exact reason why we never sold Bernardo Silva, because I remember saying, the reason why we never sold Bernardo is because City will value him at 70, 80, 90 million quid like 4 or 5 years ago. And then the buying club are going to look at it and go, we're not spending 80 million quid on a guy that gets 10 G&A a season, because they didn't see what we see in every single game.
Because he's an energy. And that's what I'm saying.
He's a good player, but obviously, like, listen, for me, I don't mind it, If he's the only player out of the unks who are playing, I think it's fine, However, like, I still don't think he gets in our best starting 11.
Not now. No, he doesn't.
And he shouldn't after we've just spent 300 million or whatever we've just spent in the last 2 windows.
Yeah, for real.
But I think he's all right to keep. You can keep one. I've always said you can keep one of the unks, man. I've always said that. And like people have to debate about which one you keep. Bernardo, Gundo, Kovacic. I personally said Kova, But if you want to keep Bernardo, cool. And obviously we are keeping Bernardo. He's been made captain of the football club. If you play Bernardo on his own with Rodri and Sijani Reinders, or with Rodri and Cherky or whatever, I think it'll be fine. But if you're playing Gundogan and Bernardo, it's not good. This is why for me now, the outgoings in the next couple of weeks are the most important thing for this football club, because we need some of these players to go so Pep doesn't keep playing them. Otherwise, we're cooked. Let me just carry on with these chats, man. Big up to Jordan, man. Says, there is a reason why Newcastle want James Trafford. They will also play with flying fullbacks, including the one that we want. Plus, he will be classed as homegrown. We have an easy buyback clause, says Jordan. Again, bro, I'm only saying I don't know because I've not seen enough of him this year. Apparently, this year has been mint. Last year is shit. Don't know. I don't know enough about him. I don't know enough about him. I don't know enough about Costa. I don't know who we're getting. Whoever it is we get, I hope the club get the right one. But I've heard really good things from Trafford this year. Really, really good things. He also says Pep also wasted a substitution by bringing on Rodri instead of starting him like against Juventus and bringing him off when he was struggling. Now, I agree with not starting him, bro. I can't lie. Because I think he already played a little bit too much in the last game. But obviously,
I get
got injured as well, apparently.
I do get the substitutions, because it's one of those things where I've seen it. This is for years and years and years and years, that when you go down, when you concede a goal and you concede a goal just after half time and your team looks all over the gaff, you bring on a couple of defensive players just to calm everything down. And the other thing is, remember, we had 2 players, I think, on yellow cards. And when you're being hit on transitions, like we were being hit on transitions. You can't be risking getting one of them sent off. So I get the substitutions. I just don't get the no use of Kuzanov for me. That was the one for me that confused me.
I can't explain it, mate, because I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And like people are like, oh well, Pep's taking the tournament seriously. Sorry, did that starting 11 tell you he took it seriously yesterday? With no Marmoush, Cherki, or Foden? You're telling me in our best 11, none of those 3 players getting our best starting 11?
Well, if we are taking it serious, we should worry about next season.
Yeah, facts. Let me just go through some of these chats, man. Shout out Jordan, man. I appreciate the donos, bro. Built Second City Saint says Tiki underrated. Built a squad with that. Won titles despite the coach. Now the quality isn't as good and Pep has to do some actual coaching. He's exposed, says Second City Saint, which is why it's a big year for him, bro. Big year. We'll see how he gets on this year, man, but he's got to perform. We got to be back at the top, man. You can't spend all this dollar and just not be involved in title races and shit. Facts. Big up, bro. Big up DK says Akanji wanting to play is a sign of him leaving. Maybe. I mean, someone's got to leave. Someone's got to leave. We've got too many players. Now, John Stones said he ain't leaving, but Pep obviously wants him to leave, hence why he's not started him a single minute. Yeah. Akanji didn't even want to be at this tournament. Yeah. I don't know. Someone's got to leave, bro. Pep has a loyalty issue. He trusts the Unks too much. I just can't believe that Pep rewards the Unks with more playing time. These Unks have got to go, says Ado. I agree. I think we got to go, man. Gundogan, Kovacic definitely have to go. Bernardo's obviously not going anywhere because he's been made captain. Sick and tired of Ederson performance. Get me Onana.
Oh, Nana, what's my name? Oh, Nana, what's my name? Listen.
I've not played that clip of time.
That was quick.
That was quick, man. I can't lie. Big up Luke says, if we're going to play a high line with 69% possession, we need defence, particularly centre-backs with pace.
Facts.
I thought this was obvious. I think this is an obvious thing to say, but obviously not because he's not doing it. Again, I always say this, yeah, I'd love to speak to Pep and be like, explain to me, because you're obviously the GOAT and I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm just a fan. Explain to me why you think it's okay to play a high line with no pace. And I'm sure once he speaks to me about it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I get it now. But I'm sitting here watching a high line, ball after ball going over the top and watching Ruben Diaz chase the player. I'm thinking, surely if you just play Huzanov, who's rapid, that'll all go away. And he's better on the ball than Diaz. And he's better in the air than Diaz. I don't know. Luke, I'm with you, man, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. Bill Bevel, playing Gundo and Silva together is mid is sabotage. Didn't work last season, won't work now, criminal. If anything, it should get worse this year because they're both 1 year older. Yeah. Gundogan, in 3 months, chat, 3 months, 90 days, this player will be 35 years old. You can't be playing in our midfield, man, at 35 years old, running around the pitch.
Well, while we're talking age, can I just give an honorary mention to Thiago Silva?
Oh, yeah, I see someone on Twitter today. What's he done?
Well, played 90 minutes for Fluminense at the age of 40, nearly 41, and bossed into Milan.
You know what? I actually think he's one of the most underrated centre-backs probably for the last 20 years because he never really gets put in that, top tier defender bracket, but he was a fucking good player, mate.
And that is the definition, right? Of if you read the game correctly, it doesn't matter if you haven't got pace, right? He went to Chelsea, and even now, bro, reading the game just absolutely sensational, bro. Imagine in the 85th minute, there's young players for Fluminense down with Stitch, and Thiago Silva's the one stretching their legs out. Yeah. He's 41. Another one I've got to give a shout out to as well. If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be so livid at the performances we got out of Koulibaly. Because Koulibaly yesterday was sensational, man.
He was the best centre-back on the pitch.
But for me, might have been the best player on the pitch, you know?
Yeah, it was mega. It was mega. I always rated the guy, man. I don't know what happened to him when he went to Chelsea, why it didn't work, but he was always a good player, man. You know what I mean? Big up to MCFC says the likes of Gundogan and Ederson aren't going to leave if they know the manager will play them. Simple as. But then why? So let me ask you this then, MCFC, yeah? Why is he not playing John Stones?
Yeah.
Because John Stones is better than Ederson and better than Gundogan. Yeah, but he's not playing John Stones. He's forcing John Stones out, which, all right, cool. He's never fit. But he's clearly forcing John Stones out. He's clearly forcing Grealish out. Yeah, but then he's playing Gundogan Ederson's different because like we've not got a new goalkeeper. Yeah, and Ortega is not good. Yeah, but why is he playing Gundogan and not Nico Gonzalez? Why is he playing Gundogan and not Nico O'Reilly? This is why, by the way, do you all see why I said if I was Nico O'Reilly, I'd leave? Do you all see that? Do you all see? That's why I said it, chat. People say, why would you leave? Why? Because you think Nico O'Reilly is going to play when Nico Gonzalez at 50 million quid's not even getting the game. He continues to play Gundogan. This is why if I was Nico O'Reilly, I'd be on to my agent saying, get me out of here, bro, because I ain't going to kick a ball this year.
Can I? Right. So, I've had a lot of Daps. You can't start Kuzanov at right back because he offers nothing going forward.
Yeah, fair.
Cool. And that's fair, right? But there is a clear issue at Manchester City. The issue is defence, right? Again, let me remind you, yesterday, we created enough chances to win the game. If we had the right players up top, we probably would have won the game. We also scored 3 goals. For me, if you score 3 goals in a game, you should win the game, right?
I agree.
Right.
A top team, wins that, yeah.
Cool. So, I think we're all happy with Ait Nouri on the left, and we want Ait Nouri to have the ability to go further forward. So, we don't want to change that.
Agreed. Otherwise, why did we buy an attacking left back?
Right, cool.
You might as well just bought a defensive left back if you're going to do that.
Yep. Nunes yesterday didn't offer anything.
Because he was inverted into midfield rather than playing as a winger, sort of like an overlapping fullback. That's where Nunes' best games have come as an overlapping fullback.
Yeah.
He didn't do that yesterday.
So let's say yesterday, maybe we'll make some changes in the middle of the park, whether that be Gundogan out, Bernardo out, whatever else, yeah. But defensively, based on we had plenty of chances, we scored 3 goals, yeah. Nunes was ineffective in the position he was in. If we had Kuzanov starting at right back, but basically playing as a 3 at the back, would we have won the game yesterday?
Yeah, I think we would have.
So there's just an option, and I'm not saying.
But I also think if you would have started Marmoush in the first half, we would have won the game because I think there is a couple of chances.
No, I'm just thinking from a defensive point of view because I think ultimately, if you score 3 goals in a game, right? If you defend well, you win the game, right? You scored 3 goals. So again, we can look at all the other things all over the pitch. The key is, our defense was not good enough, right? And we need to combat that. Getting Kuzanov in that team and getting Kuzanov, and I'm not asking Pep to change the system, by the way. I'm saying, do you know what, Pep? Your system, cool. Just make our defense that little bit better. Because if you're going to want Ait Nouri to bomb down, invert, do all of that, you've got to make that defense solid. You have to.
Or you've got to change the system to accommodate Diaz.
Yeah, Kuzanov on the right next to him. Yeah.
Or play Kuzanov on the right.
That's the whole
but
thing.
Then you're going to run into the situation of you're going to get the same situation that you've got with Akanji when Akanji plays right back, in which when Kuzanov gets the ball going forward, he's going to be crossing the ball in the box, and it's going to be awful.
We don't ask him to do that. Simple.
Or you just tell him to sit back and defend.
Well, because we're so liable on counters, I feel like that's what we have to do. We have to say, do you know what? Defenders, apart from Vardy and Nouri, so Vardy and Nouri, you push up and you do what you've got to do. Diaz, at that point, you have to move over. You seem more comfortable on the left anyway. So when Vardio's off up the pitch, you move over. And Kuzanov, you come in and you sit next to Diaz. And you two play like old school defenders.
Yeah.
We've still then got what? 8 players in advanced positions to impact the game. That's more than enough. That's more than enough. Either way, you're right. We either replace Diaz or we place someone like Kuzanov next to Diaz on the other side to basically fucking hold Diaz's hand, which is mental.
Which is mental. Who's greater chances for Haaland? Again, if you go through the starting 11, so we've done the whole go through it. I'll come to a part of the set, Kenny. Big up for reminding me. If we go through the starting 11, we've already established yesterday that the starting 11 didn't have any goal scorers in it, which is why we was only 1-0 up at half time and not 3 or 4-0 up, yeah? If you also go through the starting 11 and say which players in that team are capable of picking out a pass for Haaland, well, we already know Jeremy Doku and Haaland don't work. Savio doesn't really connect with him that much either. Bernardo Silva is not a creative player. And Gundogan is just, I just don't think we should be speaking about Gundogan as that type of player anymore. given the fact he's nearly 35 years old. So you got Reinders, and it's still early days. Yeah, Eight Nori, but Eight Nori was playing mad deep yesterday. So again, we had a team yesterday that can't score and can't create chances for Haaland. Hence why it was like watching City for 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Which is why I think yesterday was on the manager.
Yeah.
Because I think the team is just not right. I don't think that team was right at all. Right, I don't see it at all, man.
And it is on the look. I've said it about last season. However much we can be critical on many players from last season, there's one person that you have to be more critical of, and that's the manager, because he should have been changing things. He should have been.
Wait a second, Zed, you're telling me we have goal scoring wingers? You're telling me Docker and Savio are goal scoring wingers? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Tell me how many goals Savio scored last year in the Premier League, bro. Go on, tell me. Humour me. Tell me how many goals Doku scored in the Premier League last year. Go on, humour me. Tell me how many goals Bernardo Silva scored last year in the Premier League. Humour me. Tell me how many goals Gundogan scored in the Premier League last year. Humour me. You don't know what you're talking about, Zed. You honestly don't know what you're talking about, bro. Yeah, coming in and acting like these players score bare goals. They don't score goals.
No, they don't.
They don't.
I mean, look, Savio on the left, different conversation, but we're not seeing Savio on the left. We're seeing Savio on the right. So, I saw a super chat that said, "Is Daps Pep out?" Right. I'll never be Pep out. I will be, is Daps Pep out yet? Like, I'm never going to be here saying Pep out because I feel maybe that's my age and out of respect, right? But I'm going to be very consistent with it. Pep was to blame for last season, right? And at the moment, Pep was to blame for yesterday. And do I believe that Pep and the coaching staff he has can turn this round? Yes. If in 10 or 15 games, I'm still seeing games like yesterday, then I am very much Pep and Viana and Khaldoon need to have a serious conversation about maybe if it's time to go separate ways. I've said that. I've said that for months. But I'm not going to do it based on one season, and I'm certainly not going to do it based on one in the last four.
And I agree. That is why, big up sign the chat. This is why I've said if we're not there this year competing and back to our best, I think he'll go at the end of the year. And I think we probably need to have that conversation at the end of the year. I'm not having it now because it's one season.
Yeah.
But let's see how we get on this year. Yeah. And if we fucking shit again, then I think he'll go at the end of the season. We'll move on to somebody else. Who that is, we'll have that conversation then. Let me just fire through some of these chats, man.
So
these likes up as well.
LB, just one last thing on what you just said there, I think the key is, right, for me, is, and this is why yesterday, we go back to saying yesterday worries us so much, is it's not just if we're still losing, right? Yesterday, it was about the way we lost. It was about the fact that the same transitions we saw all last season, not learning, right? The same trust in certain players, not learning. That it's those elements that if we're losing stuff, but we're seeing a lot of change and we're losing it like 2-1 and it's just a mad goal or something like that. It is what it is. Yesterday was too similar to the whole of last season, right? And that is where it's like if someone is not learning, right? Ultimately, if your girl cheats on you and you give her one chance, cool, right? If she keeps cheating on you, you don't keep giving her chances, right? So if Pep is not learning from his mistakes, then it becomes a serious conversation.
Yeah, because Pep said after the game, he was like going, oh yeah, we couldn't deal with the transitions and that. And it's like, but with respect, Pep, you left the team with not one single defensive midfield player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So why are we acting as if like getting done on transitions is a shock, man?
That is the same as when Diaz came out after the draw to Southampton and said, I can't believe this team's playing a low block against us. Bro, we're Manchester City who've been facing low blocks for 6 or 7 years, and you're playing a team that's got 9 points in the league, and you're surprised that they're going to play a low block against you. Get the fuck out of it. That Khaldoon said in his end of season thing about we know where we went wrong. Players are accountable. Pep, Diaz, in those two situations, you're not being accountable because we know that teams are going to transition on us. It's not an excuse in 2025.
Yo, what the fuck is this I keep seeing, man? People are saying that we've got some sort of clause for Huzanov. We've got to pay 10 million. I've seen this a lot. Is this true? He's played 10 games. So what we're saying, if he plays 11 games, we've got to pay 10 million.
Nah.
And that's why he's not playing.
Nah, because before, right, so.
Surely not.
It was, he only played 9 because he played 10, yeah? And now, because he played the other day, didn't he? He has played this tournament.
He's played 10 games.
Yeah. So someone said it was if he played 10 games, and now they must play if he plays 11 games. Exactly. So they keep just moving that narrative.
Yeah. By the way, we did the poll in the chat. Should Huzanov replace Diaz in the team? 87% of people are saying he should replace Diaz, which is pretty mad. Let's have a look at some more of these chats, man. Smash these likes up, people, if you've not done so already, innit? Big up to NCZ. Says Doku's good play before this game was because he was more inside with Aït-Nouri overlap. Last night it was back to Doku playing 1v3 out on the touchline. Agreed. Facts. Doku, is that watching Doku yesterday or this morning? Do you know what I mean? Again, that's a Pep told him to do that.
And Ash, it was the fact that when it got to like the 100th minute and it still was, I'll just get the ball to Doku and let's see if he can. First half it was working. Yeah,
Doku was all right first half, and then second half the first half was all right. Yeah, we should have been 3 or 4-0 up, and then second half it was like watching City 7 months ago.
Yeah,
and it was the same shit that we seen from Savio and Doku. It was the same shit that we saw from the midfield. It was the same shit that we saw from the defense. It was the same shit that we saw from the goalkeeper. It was the same shit that we saw from the manager. Yeah. It's like literally going back to when we was in that run of 1 winning 14 and going, the goalkeeper shit, the defense is shit, the midfield shit, the attack shit, and the manager's making mad subs. So yeah. Big up Ash says we might not buy anyone because of half these players will happily sit out for a year on high wages. Zero. Bro, I'm not being funny, mate. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, if they want to stay, say, Sound, you can stay. You're not in the squad. You can train with the academy. You're not playing, mate, because you're not good enough, yeah? He's left Grealish at home. So it showed, people can't tell me that we can't do it because he's left Grealish at home. He's not give John Stones a single minute. So don't tell me that we can't do it because we're already doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah? If Pep don't want to, if Pep don't want these players, or the club don't want these players, but the players don't want to leave, say, cool, you can stay. Yeah, you got a World Cup coming up in 2026. You're not going to play a single minute for this football club, yeah? Fuck them. Yeah, we can't be held hostage by these players. Big up Emmanuel says we need to replace Walker. I agree. We need a new right back. Luke also says still not convinced on Nunes. I'm convinced on him in terms of attacking fullback, hit the wings, yeah? But I think you need one more. I think you need another one. Used to have Mahrez, Sane, Sterling. Why not? I guess you mean Rodrigo. Yeah, we're not going to get Rodrigo. Half our fan base don't even think he's better than Doku and Savio, which is fucking wild. But yeah, we're not going to get Rodrigo.
Bigger issues at this point.
I agree. I think that's the one for next year, as I've said for ages. The fan base blaming Ederson like he should have saved a 1v1. 4 and 5 yard headers are not parried. The other header, Ederson shouldn't be facing so many point blank headers. Our centre backs were in no man's land. Listen, I'll say this about Ederson, yeah. It's like, I think it's the fact that he's not really getting us out of any shit. And he just doesn't seem, let me ask you a question, so yeah. Put it in the chat, yeah. I can see the chat on screen. Do you think he's locked in right now? Because you watch this, you're always on my chats, yeah. You're always in the streams. You know what I've been saying. I've been saying, yeah, that I keep Ederson if he's locked in. Do you think he's locked in? Do you think he's fully committed this season?
Nah. I would say
I don't.
I was saying, look, let him go on a free. If we get to keep him for one more season.
I was saying the same thing.
After the last 2 games, Juventus and this one, yeah, his head don't seem in the right place, man.
I don't. When people say, "Oh, so who said that?" Then in the chat said none of the goals were his fault. Says Sonic. Okay, I get what you're saying. However, it's the could have done better. Yeah, the one where it was he parried it onto Diaz and the guy tapped it in. Could he have not parried it anywhere else? Yeah, could he not have done that? The one where he parried it into the other player and the guy tapped it in. Could he not have parried it anywhere else? You might sit here and say none of the goals were his fault, which is probably true. But could he have not done better on any of them? I just feel that like
he didn't attempt to save it, so he definitely could have done better.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Big up Matt for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Big up for you. Big up for becoming a member. Big up Foggy as well. 15 months. Big up Foggy. Big up Matt for becoming channel members. Appreciate it, lads. Shout out Second City States. Pep should be sacked. 500 million euros in 6 months just to lose against Camel team or draw against relegated Southampton. He lost the control of the team. He must go. I give him 1 more year. I give him another year.
Also, get your maths right. It's not 500 million.
Yeah, it's not 500 million. But I give him this year, bro. If we shit this year, I think it's time to move on. I'll say it. I think it's time to move on. Yeah, let him move on this year.
Either way, there's context to this with that statement right there, yeah? So lose against Camel team or draw against relegated Southampton. So firstly, that Camel team, yeah, are a good team. That Camel team drew with Real Madrid, right? And I know that we'll always glaze Real Madrid. Secondly, the draw against relegated Southampton, I hear it. But also, if we're doing in the last 6 months, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City is the most informed team in the Premier League, factually, right? So you can look at individual games, but at the same time, it is a fact City are the most informed team in the Premier League from January through till May. So you can talk about one-off games, but he's also it's not as clear cut as you think. We have to give him. I mean, you're giving him a year. I'd personally give him 6 months.
Well, the reason I give him a year is because he's not going to get sacked halfway through the season, and he's not going to walk halfway through the season. So I'd say just give him this year, yeah, see how we get on this year, and at the end of the day, if it's still shit this season, next season, maybe move him on and bring someone else in.
Yeah. I think, right, imagine if we have a bad first 6 months, yeah, but then the second half of the season, we turn it around. And like I just said, we have a very good second half of the season and we end up getting third and getting Champions League football again, right? That's still not enough for me.
It's not enough.
Nah, it's not enough.
You can't spend all this money and then be like happy with third.
Nah, simple.
Especially if it's the same shit that we lose. Like, if it's the same way that you're losing games compared to last year, then that's poor, isn't it? You have to be challenging. You have to be challenging at a bare minimum, bro. When you spend all this money. We should go for Musiala next summer. If not, Rodrigo, says DK. He has got a release clause. That's how we answered that one before. If you were Pep, what system would you play then? I wouldn't play well, the first thing that I'd do, I'd drop Diaz. I'd play Huzanov. I'd play Ait Nouri, Gavardio, Huzanov, Nunes right now because you have a right back. Midfield of Rodri, Tijani Reinders, and I'd probably say Cherki, Foden off the right, Marmoush off the left, Haaland up top. Yeah? If you want to drop Haaland and play Marmoush as the false 9, cool, then you can play Doku. You can't play Doku when you play Haaland. That is simple. It's clear as day. Yeah? It's clear as day. That's what I'd play. Cherki and Foden exciting. Juve was Linda's work, says 50 days. Van says, playing a high line with the Kanji and Diaz is really hurting us. They cannot defend during a counter. Facts. Inzaghi should be considered if Pep walks, in my opinion. I'm sure he'll probably be on the list, but I think it's probably more going to be like someone like a Nagelsmann company or the guy at PSG. Can't remember his name. Our defense is so bad during a counter that Ederson is put on a 1v1 every time. Someone like Huzanov would give a layer of cover for Ederson. Yes, that is true. And Huzanov and Ederson does have a lot of these one-on-ones that he doesn't save. However, you could also say if you had a goalkeeper that is better at shot stopping, they will bail you out more than 1v1s. I don't know. I guess that's the conversation. That's the debate. That's the debate, man. Right, smash these likes up, people, man. Yeah, crazy. Do I think we'll win the league? I think we got a chance, but I think it depends on me. How quickly can we get Rodri fully fit? If Rodri's not fully fit, nah, I don't think we will. And what's Pep going to do with these decision making?
Do you know what? I agree with another super chat's just come in. I agree with that as well. Sorry, but I do.
Huzanov mops all that bullshit last night. Yeah, he does. He does. And the thing is as well, John Luke, yeah, he actually likes defending. He's an aggressive player. Yeah. Too many passive defenders in our defense, man. Too many defenders who are just like, just chilling. Yeah, we need fucking defenders who are going to be like, bang.
Yeah.
Give me the fucking ball. So got some guys running through. Bang, I'm going to take you out, mate. That's what Huzanov does. Yeah. And of course, he'll get a couple of them wrong. He'll take a couple of yellow cards. He might even get sent off once in a while. But I'd rather have someone like that than these passive defenders who just go for header, who don't win any fucking aerial duels whatsoever.
Do you know the other thing as well, by the way? Kuzanov might actually do it, before the player gets to our box.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
He's
So
rapid, bro.
earlier. We'll do it around the halfway line, right? Just go through someone in the halfway line, take a yellow. Bro, do you know what? I heard the commentators say that yesterday. It's what City have done for years. We know when to take yellow cards. So take the yellow cards early doors. Unfortunately, Diaz can't take the yellow cards early doors because he's having to play catch-up for the first 100 yards. Any news on the Rodri injury, by the way?
Nah.
Don't think it... we're touching wood. It was more...
I think it'll be fine because we're off now. He's got no games.
Yeah. And with Rodri, for me, by the way, when he came on, Rodri looked like his football mind is still the same Rodri football mind, right? His controlling of the pace, all of that, him knowing when to recycle, when to switch it to the other side, when to actually then end up putting it back on the same side it came from. All of that's the same, but his passing still a bit off in it. His range of passing still a bit. That'll happen. He's got to get control of knowing how hard to hit a ball again, I guess. But it's going to take a while with him.
It is. Right, sweet. I'll wrap it up there. Big up Master Chief says, in big 2025, you need world-class 11, centre-back, goalkeeper, wingers. Yeah, I've said this for fucking months, mate. You know, if you actually go for our team, lad, and be honest with yourself and don't be like biased, take your blue tinted City glasses off and say, how many genuine world-class players do we have in this squad? And then compare it. Do the same for the treble year. It's night and day. Yeah. Listen, I've got to wrap it up, man, because I'm going on a 93-20 podcast with the lads, doing a match review on there.
Oh, lovely.
But yeah, make sure you guys are smashing up the likes. Over 1.3k in the building right now. Let's end up at least on 500 likes, guys. Come on, we need 40 people. 40 people out of 1.3k. Smash up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Subscribe to We Are South Stand. I messaged the lad. Sue's available tonight for a panel show. Don't know. I've not messaged anyone yet, but I'll message him. See who's about. And yeah, peace out, people. Catch you in the next one. See you later.